Hey Drew, I'm just popping around because I bought these 2 new tennis rackets from the sports store. I thought you might want to play a game of tennis.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't played much Murray tennis lately, so let's jump into a nice game of tennis.
All right, cool. Well, here's your racket, Drew.
Oh, thanks. Oh, Bryce, was it full of holes? I don't think I'll be able to hit anything with this.
Well, it was slightly cheaper, so I thought it was bit better to save a bit of value for money in my pocket, you know?
But you could have just paid like $10 more or $20 more and just got a functional racket that actually does what it was marketed to do.
Well, yeah, but I'm penny pinching, you see, so I guess it was probably just a better idea to forego the fact that it had all this nice bounce back on the racket, and thought I might just buy you a cheap one.
Fair enough. Well, oh, what's this? Oh, looks like Nintendo's announced the Switch Lite. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, the award-winning Nintendo podcast, backed by 120 Power Star rating, and the doors to episode 108 are open. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and joining me, as always, is my big BD. It's Bryce DeWitt.
Hey, everyone.
How's it going, dude?
Good.
That's good. What's with the Sonic impression?
I don't know.
I don't know. You're just trying to be witty. You're trying to think, how am I going to come to this podcast in a new and interesting way? You know, usually I say hello. Sometimes I say hi, but it's the Sonic impression that's really going to blow the listeners away.
Chili dogs. Yeah.
Nice. So
That's all I got to say.
So what you been up to this week, Bryce? You been doing things?
No. Not really.
No.
Work, and then I picked up Minecraft on the Switch again.
Oh, you did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What? Why? Just felt like playing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot's been added since I last played it.
Yeah.
Jesus. I'm thinking like 9-10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not been that long since you've been playing it.
I haven't played it.
So I remember you like playing it when it was like an alpha.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't a thing yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just picked it up again, thought, And I mean, I got stuck into it last night. My Switch is at 50%. I hopped in bed and just played until my battery ran dry and had fun, so...
So now you're a big advocate for Steve to be coming into Minecraft.
No. No.
No,
I'm not.
You can sleep at night now. You know Banjo's there. You know he's not going to be taken over by any other
exactly right.
Microsoft character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And apart from that, just sort of waiting for Fire Emblem. Week away from Fire Emblem, just waiting for that to come.
Oh, boy, I can't wait for Fire Emblem.
We sort of talked about it. What house do you reckon you'll go with?
Red one.
Red one? I haven't looked into it. I'm just going to sort of play the game, get to the point, and make the decision there. I'm going to be on the spot.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah.
No,
I haven't really looked at too much on the game, apart from
only the basic info.
Yeah, just like the trailers and that.
Yeah. I'm not going through any of the stuff that's been released since it's been in reviewers' hands. I'm just leaving it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just wait until it comes out this week and get my grubby hands on it. And
yeah, it sounds like all the feedback from reviewers and that is quite
really
good.
Positive.
Yeah, so that's good.
I think I can't remember what it was. I think it was like Famitsu or something that has like a really weird score rating out of 40.
Yeah,
and I got like 37 or 30.
Yeah, which is quite good. Like Famitsu's pretty hard on games. They don't just willy nilly give out perfect scores or anything. So
no, yeah,
getting a game up there, it'd be weird. Sort of like I only hear about the good Nintendo games that get rated by Famitsu.
Yeah,
I never hear about the games that might get like a 20 out of 40 or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not reading it every issue or anything like that. But
no, yeah.
So today on the show, we're going to be talking about the law firm that's targeting Nintendo for the Joy-Con drift. More discussion on the Nintendo Switch Lite and the new model of the Nintendo Switch, and I think that's going to be the show.
Yeah, it's pretty slow on general news this week, and I think I've got a lot to say next week when Fire Emblem's out, and sort of talk about that. Plus, it's after our big trip, it's our first week back. I feel like we should probably just take it easy and then get back into the hard stuff next week.
Just take it easy. Yeah,
chill out.
Just take it easy.
Chill out for a bit. Yeah. I'm still trying to settle back in from Adelaide. There's still shit going on, So.
Yeah, and as far as because Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 came out this week, I've downloaded it, but am yet to actually get into it. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, to get into it after we record this, if we finish a decent time.
Yep.
So, but what the plan is we're going to be doing a review discussion. Bryce doesn't have any interest in the game,
I do not.
so I've asked Dylan Blight from the Explosion Network if he would like to join me for a review discussion sometime in the next couple of weeks about the game. So if you want coverage from us, yes, we'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. It'll be its own episode. So if you're not interested in the game, or if you are interested in the game, that episode will be there soon, hopefully. Would be good to be next week, but it depends on how much we get to play around with it.
See how you go.
See how we go.
See how you go.
I'm looking forward to it. I actually went and watched Spider-Man Far From Home today.
Yep.
Really enjoyed it. Absolutely. Like, I always go into these Marvel movies being like, it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. But I always come out being like, yeah.
That was good, yeah.
Yeah, just like pretending to like shoot webs like a little kid.
Yeah, the only problem is like after Spider-Verse, I think it's pretty hard to top that movie.
Yeah, that was a fantastic movie.
I feel like Spider-Verse, at least for Spider-Man, was boof. You know, it was really, really good.
Yeah, it was really good. But Far From Home is really good as well.
I'm not saying it's not. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if I walked into a movie theater and watched Far From Home, I probably wouldn't get as much enjoyment as I would have out of Spider-Verse.
Yeah, because I know, like, after Endgame, I was really excited for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I was like, still 2 months away. Come on. Yeah. And now it's gotten to now, I'm like, well, I don't need that type of game right now. But I'm like, after watching Far From Home, I'm like, yeah, come on. While the Marvel adrenaline's high, let's get into it then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Plays Spider-Man, but he's not 16 in this one. He's 20 or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll jump into the US law firm sort of targeting Nintendo. So North American law firm CSK&D is currently investigating the reports of drifting from Nintendo Switch system's Joy-Con controllers. If you check out the term in the search engine, it seems to be a common issue affecting a number of users. With the Joy-Cons being expensive to replace, the US law firm is asking users to use this form to report any issues. So that's a link if you want to go and report your issues. Yeah. So this article is coming from My Nintendo News. So link in the show notes if you do want to go and read it yourself. So they come across regarding the drifting. Only use the form if you've been a victim of drifting. So KSK and D is investigating a potential class action based upon reports that Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. It's basically the same quote I just read. So yeah, they're investigating because there's a lot of hoo-ha about the drifting and all that. Bryce, what do you think about this? What have you read so far, and what's your experience with it?
I seriously want to know who actually does have this problem, because I think everybody I know that has a Switch does not have this problem. So it says a lot about, like, what are the people that are getting these problems treating their Switches like? Like, I'm not saying that it could be completely unfeasible that these controllers are actually dodgy. It's perfectly reasonable. We've already had troubles with them, but I feel like that's almost pushing the mark because I've never seen it happen. From what a lot of people have said on the matter, if you pull apart the Joy-Con and put some alcohol spray, I can't remember exactly what the term is for it, on like an earbud and do some cleaning, it works perfectly fine. So it's come down to the sensors getting dirty, and that's why it's happening. So in my mind, I'm just like, and I said it to you as a joke, but I think I mean it seriously. Like, are people just like taking their Joy-Cons, playing their console when they got like friggin' salt and Cheeto dust and all this shit all over their hands, and they're playing their console, and then their Joy-Con gets dirty, and then they're like, I'm so angry.
I know, like, problems I've had with my Joy-Cons is just like the connectivity to the Switch. Yeah. So if you're not pointing it straight at the Switch, it's not picking up exactly what you're doing, or it's got latency. Yep. So I wonder if maybe some of the issues are like if you're playing Mario Kart and you're holding, you're going to turn left, you're holding left on the joystick, and then you sort of like put your hand down, so then the connectivity's a bit like not as strong, but it's still like picking up your left, even though you might have turned again.
Yeah.
It might be that. Sometimes I'm like, it's not working. So, I've got to point it at the Switch because the Switch is like, you can't pick it up because it's blocked by your leg or something if you've got it by your side. Yeah,
right. I don't think that's entirely, like, some of the evidence that has come out about it, there's people that are just like, I'm just playing like Octopath Traveler in bed and it's just sitting on my legs.
It's in handheld mode.
Like, in handheld mode, right. Yeah. And it's happening. But, like, again, I'm not really defending it. I just guess what I'm saying is that if you're using your Joy-Cons in a specific manner that could get them dirty, maybe you should rethink about how you're using them, because a lot of these people are like, oh, my Joy-Cons started drifting after 6 months. It's like, okay, so that's probably wear and tear. They're probably dirty. Then there's people that are just like, I've only had my Joy-Cons for 3 weeks and they've started drifting. It's like, okay, are you being clean with them? Are you being clean with them?
Yes, so they are.
Do you have dirty hands?
I assume people aren't just been like, they're going out gardening, like, let's go and play Switch, and there's like covered in mud just dripping down the screen. I don't think there's any situations where people are being super dirty with them. But
I mean, my daughter uses my Switch, and
sure, it could be kids too.
My daughter uses my Switch, and so far I've not had any problems. I tell her that she can't use it unless her hands are clean. Perfectly fine. I haven't had any issues so far. But I've had the only 2 Joy-Cons I've had since launch, and I've not had a single problem with them, apart from, again, the connectivity thing, which is a widely known issue anyway.
Yeah,
it's not rocket science news. It's like, oh my god,
has it been around for a while? Because I'm just sort of seeing the articles and that come up now, and people...
a lot of people are. I guess it's just kind of like pissing people off now, but like, why is it pissing people off now?
Because I don't know, because I've got the launch Joy-Cons, and I've got that issue where if you're not pointing it at the Switch itself, it has trouble picking it up.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I go and get a set now, that would be resolved. I'm not sure. Probably not. You shaking your head?
Don't think so.
Don't think so?
No. I mean, I'm actually thinking about picking up a new set of Joy-Cons when new colours come out in October. I think it is. I'm thinking about picking up a new set then, because I kind of want the orange or purple one.
I was looking at those colours. I don't like those new colours at all.
I like orange and purple.
You do? Yeah, that's all right then.
I'd like to have the reverse of them too, though. That'd be nice. So then I could have like dual neon orange.
Yeah, that's
my favorite, my favorite color and all that. Well, that'd be great. But I just feel like it's just popped up out of nowhere, I think, which is the biggest thing for me. It's just like, okay, so maybe they had recently had a faulty manufacturer, which is a possibility. I mean, people are sending their controllers back, they're getting them repaired, and then they go, we didn't detect any issues. It's like, clearly there's some sort of issue.
Yeah.
But that issue could be as simple as cleaning the sensors on the stick, which a lot of people are doing. They're pulling apart their Joy-Cons, going, and go, oh yeah, it works again. It's fine. And then it'll get dirty again, and then it's like, oh shit, well, I got to pull it apart and do it again. That's annoying. That's really annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. You should never have to pull apart the thing you've bought, really, either.
No, but the controllers themselves are doing exactly what they advertise. They're a controller. Like, a lot of people are just like, oh, they're taking this lawsuit so that they can file it against Nintendo so they stop making dodgy controllers. But the thing is that you don't know whether that's down to a hardware fault or a cleaning fault until somebody actually inspects those Joy-Con controllers. Nintendo are sending them back, and they're coming back fixed. So obviously they've done something on the inside to go, oh, it's clean. Yeah, there's no other issues other than the fact that it needed a clean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not something you can report on when you send back a bunch of controllers. So it's like, oh, I just needed a clean. Because then you get people who are like, oh, maybe, well, I can do that myself instead of spending the money.
Yeah, because like to Nintendo, it's like wiping it with a bit of cloth isn't, replacing a part or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not anything that's like a major expense to them. It's like, just don't have a grubby fucking hands all over the controllers and you'll be right. Again,
so the message is wash your hands.
The message, I guess the message is just chill out, and there's only one controller issue that I've had with my Joy-Cons since then, and that's a desyncing issue. And that
I've had that too recently.
Yeah, and that's because
in handheld mode.
Handheld, but that's because they're really old.
Yeah, mine are
like that's what I'm putting it down to. My Joy-Cons are old, and which is why I'm probably going to get a new set in October.
It was weird. This is what happened to me in Smash. I'm playing Smash, just single player against the CPU.
It disconnects,
and it disconnects. I'm like, okay, but my controls aren't disconnected. I can use the home button. I go to the menu, and I can move around my menu and that. And then I go back to Smash, and it's just nothing's responding. I'm like. So that confuses me, because if it just disconnected, you'd be like, oh, there's something going on with the controller.
Yeah.
But to just disconnect from the game and not the actual system,
it's
really odd.
Yeah, it's that's more of a software thing, I think. It's not it's not the software that's doing it. It's definitely the controller that's doing it. But I think like the software just freaks out because it disconnects and reconnects really
it's
quickly.
obviously something to do with the game because the actual operating software is still running.
The problem with you not like going into the game and it not running after your Joy-Cons reconnected, that is the software. That is the software freaking out because you've disconnected a controller.
Yeah.
But the fact that controller is disconnecting in the first place, but it's like a light switch. You go click, click, it's back.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just the game freaking out. You can't play the game. I've had that too. You just exit out of the match, go back in, you're playing again.
Was that Smash for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously it does it in other games, but Smash reacts to it worse. Like it disconnects and reconnects so quickly that whatever. But like I've dragged that down to the fact that hey, my Joy-Cons are 3 years old. Like they're getting pretty old.
Yeah, not 3 yet, but they're getting there. Yeah.
Well, close enough. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not that far off. It's 2.5 years. Getting there. So I can attribute to that. I've had PlayStation controllers that have lasted me just about the same amount of time. I've gone through 3 PlayStation controllers, and they've all lasted me about the same amount of time.
What happened with the PlayStation controllers? Was it the sticks?
No, the L1 button got stuck.
That's right.
Not physically stuck. You could still press it in and out, but for some reason it would just constantly click. So obviously something's wrong with the internals there. The second one, the hinge on my triggers broke because they're shitty plastic. And I wasn't playing that aggressively with them. I'm playing about the same aggression I am now as I was back then.
Same aggression, yeah.
And they're fine. So it was just a shitty hinge, I guess. Like, it's just little shit like that, I think. My controllers traditionally have lasted a fairly long time.
Yeah.
But as we're going forward, controllers are lasting less and less.
And like you can see why people are angry about this because like they're very expensive controllers.
Yeah, they're not cheap
for what they are. And I think like you buy a brand new Switch and your Joy-Cons aren't working. You can't use that in handheld mode. You can't use that on the TV.
Yeah.
And like the idea of going out and spending an extra 120 Australian or whatever it is in America, I think they're 90 or something.
Yeah. 80
are they? Yeah. So yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I understand the grievances. Yeah. It's annoying. It's shitty.
No, I'm just saying that because I feel like someone who's listening to this, like, yes, I'm getting in. I'm getting this. I'm very frustrated. Let's see what the House of Mario guys think about it. You're like, just wash your fucking hands. Well, I feel like that will just
no.
stoke the fire a bit.
No, I do get it that it's probably a legitimate reason for some people, but there's a lot of people out there that also probably not taking decent product care, and it's happening to them, which is another thing as well. Like, the argument around the whole thing is that Nintendo is delivering a faulty product and they're not rectifying the issue. And that could be down to this line of Joy-Cons that was sent out in recent times. Something's gone wrong with them. It's like, well, shit. But they are still doing the thing that they advertise. They play your game. You play your game with them. Yeah, well, shit happens.
Not really if they drift, but...
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Every time I say that now, that friggin' Weird Al video.
You know what I'm saying?
But
I know what you're saying.
There are plenty of people out there that aren't looking after their product and it is drifting because of that reason, then yeah. When you take something like this to court, they need to be able to prove that it is specifically a non-user hardware fault. So, you've got all these people complaining about Joy-Con drifting. 50% of them might be, it's them getting them dirty or misusing them or something like that.
I feel like Nintendo's like sort of internally they're ahead of the game. They're looking at this going, oh shit, we need to work this out because Nintendo, I highly doubt they're the type of company where like we make brilliant games, but we don't care if their controllers don't work and you can't interact with those games properly.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure they're on it, hopefully. And from what I'm reading with comments and that, they're getting stuff replaced for free and all that. Nintendo are, doing their part as far as the product care and all that. So
there's a lot of people like cracking up about this like it was the Red Ring issue back in the day. And that was far worse.
Yeah, the actual console's blowing up.
The actual console blew up and then you'd send it back for a free repair or whatever. It'd come back. My friend, Craig.
Oh, he's my friend.
Craig. Well, okay.
He's a good bloke. Don't you take Craig away from me.
Okay, he was predominantly my friend in school though.
Yeah.
He sent his Xbox 360 back 3 times. Came back broken every time.
Broken every time?
Yeah, it's like they didn't touch it.
Oh,
pretty much. and then it ran out of warranty period. So it's like,
So it's gone. Yeah, you hear some horror stories like people going through like 3 or 4 systems. Yeah,
and like
you got to really love a company to be like, all right, this is the 4th one or the 3rd one.
Yeah,
even the 2nd one. I feel like,
yeah.
like if I was on my 3rd Switch, I'd be like,
but like if the controllers are going back. If the controllers are going back, they pay the fee, which they were for some time, and they were like, ugh, I've got to pay this fee to get them fixed. And then they come back, they're working for 3 weeks, then they do it again.
At least they looked at it.
They looked at it, they've obviously fixed the problem, but they've gotten broken again. Is that down to you? Are you doing that? I feel like...
I don't know.
You know...
It's hard to know, because if one of us was experiencing the same thing, we could actually like talk about it. Like, we got it back, it's not working again, and I only played it once during the 2 weeks. Like, we could have that, or we could be like, yeah, it doesn't work again, but I did throw it at a wall because I was angry at Dark Souls.
Yeah, like that's the problem with this lawsuit, is that they're going to have to be able to prove that it is Nintendo's fault that the controllers are doing what they're doing, and there is a lot of people out there that haven't had a problem with their original set.
Yeah,
so it doesn't really speak to me when you say like, oh, my shit's not working. Like, okay, but is it you or is it the controller?
Just before we move on, I do want to bring this up because I've got 2 sets of Joy-Con. I've got the red ones I use on my Switch all the time, and I've got the blue ones, which I used to swap them around because I thought some days I'd be like, I feel like blue, I feel like red, but now I'm always like just red.
Yep.
But I had a Joy-Con in my coat. My girlfriend put my coat through the wash without actually checking my pockets.
Ooh.
So one of my Joy-Cons went through the wash. I'm like, well, it's buggered. But I put it on my little charging stand, and it like started charging, and then it finished charging. I'm like looking at it going, I'm not going to try yet, but I wonder if it will work. I'm curious to see if it will work if it goes. Now it's been through the wash.
So you haven't tried it yet?
I haven't tried it yet. It's just on the charging stand.
Don't put it in your Switch. Just connect it wirelessly. See what happens. And if it lasts through that, like that's thing doesn't.
Well, maybe that will help the Joy-Con drift. Give it a wash.
Well, it would say something really, then, wouldn't it? It's like you put it through rain, hail, or shine. If it still works, then like if it goes through a washing machine, it's still working. Then.
Well, I put it on the charging dock, and it came up with the green light saying it's charging. Then it came up with the red light saying it's charged. I'm like, so electricity is going into it, and the battery's working.
Yeah.
So whether the rest is operational or I don't know, but it'd be interesting.
Who knows?
I haven't tried it because I just looked at it charging. I'm like, I'm not going to touch you because I'm scared to find out because I don't want to replace you because that would be an expensive thing, and I don't use them that much. Like they're good to have the extra pair of Joy-Con, obviously, but yeah. Yes. All right, Bryce. What are you doing? You're leaning
stretching
over.
my back.
Oh, you're stretching your back.
Yeah, I got some spine sores, mate.
Oh, I don't know if it was leaning over the rip of fart or what.
Well, see, I got to lean into this microphone. You don't have to do that so much.
Oh, look. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, next news story is Nintendo Switch was the best-selling console through the first half of 2019. So, this is good news. I'll read the quote from the NPD group. So, the best-selling hardware in terms of both dollar and unit sales, and that's important because in dollar sales is probably the most important.
Yeah, of course.
They actually made money.
Yeah.
In the United States for the first month of June. So, this doesn't include us here in Australia.
Uh-huh.
I didn't buy a Switch this year, so it doesn't really faze me. It is also the best-selling console through the first half of 2019. The aging current generation of consoles has made 2019 a struggle for Microsoft and Sony to sell their consoles, and the next generation is still a year away. Because of this, according to NPD analyst Matt Pescatella, the Nintendo Switch is the only platform showing year-on-year growth. Hardware spending in June 2019 dropped 33% when compared to a year ago. Well, this is a big number here, Bryce. We got $235 million. So that's a big number for the video game industry in America.
Yep.
Year to date, hardware spending has declined 30% versus a year ago to Jesus, that's a big number. $1,300 million.
Okay.
I don't know why I struggled with that much. It's a pretty simple sum. As for accessories such as gamepads and headsets, they are still selling very nicely, Pescatella says. a total on June 2019, spending on accessories and game cards fell 7% when compared to a year ago to $338 million. Year-to-date sales on accessories and game cards declined 1% when compared to a year ago to $1,800 million. Growth on gamepad spending has not been able to offset declines across other segments. The best-selling controller of June was the PS4 DualShock 4 Black wireless controller, which was also the best-selling controller of the first half of 2019. So,
what a surprise! I've been through 3 of them.
I know like the PlayStation 4 controller. They had like the State of Play, and they had them real cheap.
Yep.
As well. Whereas obviously, Joy-Con and Pro controllers, they're expensive as anything. They're like buying liquid gold.
Yep, pretty much.
But you're getting a bad D-pad instead of a nice piece of jewelry. So yeah, so it's good to see that Nintendo's going well with the Switch still. Obviously, you're comparing it to PS4, Xbox One, which is
they've already had their life.
They've had their life. Like we've got ours, and we're looking to the next generation consoles next year. So, like, so many people will be in the same boat as that. Whereas Switch is still being adopted. So I guess it's a nice win in a headline, but really it means nothing.
No, not right now. Anyway, yeah.
Because it's the same story with E3. Like, people say, "Oh, Nintendo won E3," but really, it's like they really should have won E3 in the position they're in.
Yeah,
this is where they're hitting their stride with games, and the other two are like, "All right, let's wind it down. We've got big news, big hardware, big software to release next year."
Yeah.
So
yeah,
yes. Anything else you'd like to say on that one, or?
No, I think you summed it up pretty nicely. If Nintendo Switch wasn't doing as well as it was, I'd be pretty pretty concerned, I guess. New consoles next year. I'm wondering if we'll see a beefed up Switch then. Maybe.
So, I guess we can use this as a little bit of a segue into the next topic, I guess. We're going to be talking about Switch Lite, new Switch model.
Yep.
As for a Pro model, obviously we haven't seen that yet. We've got the Lite model and a sort of just a little
bit of a revision.
Yeah, a little revision on the current model.
Yep.
As for the Pro model, I think it's this year we're looking at Switch Lite. So it's a featureless, not featureless, but features taken out of the Switch to make into the Switch Lite cheaper for like families and whatever type of situation you're looking at there. It's because you've got Pokemon, you've got Link's Awakening, you've got Luigi's Mansion. These are all games that are sort of prominent on portable Nintendo systems.
Yep.
And to be like, there's also a Pro model. A Pro model would make no sense this year with the sort of hardware they're looking to launch.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're looking at a roadmap of what Nintendo might be looking to do, would it be that like, say, the next Zelda game, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, would they be looking to put out a Pro model then? And maybe have that around a few months maybe after the next PlayStation, next Xbox, to, like, sort of another marketing push on top of that to sort of gain attention with, like, a brand new piece of software and all that, pushing a new system?
Yeah. I think, by the way, this is the first time we're actually having this discussion on the podcast because you did the solo episode last week. So probably going to be heavily talking about that for the most part here, like our thoughts on it and all that stuff. It's been about a week now.
Yeah, about a week.
About a week. I will lay the groundwork in saying that my thoughts on it aren't too positive. So if you're not really interested, I guess you don't have to listen to it.
No, I guess just to preface this, like, we're saying it's negative, but at the end of the day, we're not the target audience. We're not the target audience, and we're not poo-pooing it just to poo-poo it. Like, if we were just gamers and we didn't do a podcast, we'd look at this and go, we don't need to buy that. Yeah. But since we're actually sort of trying to critique Nintendo's moves and that in the industry,
that's exactly right.
We've got more to say on it rather than just like, we're not going to buy this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Switch Lite to begin with was already hard grab of my attention, being the prominent thing about it being its size. And it's half an hour extra battery life, pretty much, is basically what is being said. Now, a lot of people are just like, that's what I want. That's what I want in a hand. I want a handheld console that's nice and small, fits in my pocket, does all this. And to the people that can own that, good for you.
Good for you.
Seriously. I'm glad you can find that niche, but it's so bare bones. Like, you can't even... It hasn't even got a kickstand on it to put it in tabletop if you wanted to play with a Pro Controller or something. You know, it doesn't have detachable Joy-Cons, so obviously you remove the functionality of out-of-the-box two-player. You can't connect it to a TV, so even if you wanted to play something on the TV, you can't.
I think all of that is fine. I think that's fine to take that stuff out and sort of, you know, aim it towards, like, if there's a kid who just wants to play Pokemon and that's all, and you want a cheaper entry point, I think that's great. But just the price that it's at doesn't represent sort of that to me.
No, it doesn't. And I think the main reason for that is like, a lot of parents are going to buy this at Christmas. Kids are going to say, "I want the Switch," and then the people are going to be like, going to the shop, asking about it. And they're going to be like, "Oh, the new model's out. You should try the new model." But the thing is that the reason kids would want a Switch is for its functionality that it's got.
Well,
I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Well, you say that, but you brought up to me the other day that
yes.
your daughter, is playing a 3DS, playing a Wii U, and she's recently discovered your Switch.
Yep.
And she really enjoys Super Mario Maker. You don't have Mario Maker on the Wii U, so when she wants to play Mario Maker, she picks up your Switch, logs into Mario Maker 2, and she has a great time. And your partner said, maybe we should get her own Switch, and she recommended the Lite model.
Right.
Because obviously that's... that model just being...
But, to be fair, my partner does not know anything about it. I have not told her what the Lite does, what it doesn't do. She doesn't understand any of that. Well, she does. She understands the Switch, but she doesn't understand that the Lite model doesn't do half of those things.
But she just looked at the price and went, "Oh, that one, because it's cheaper."
Because it's cheaper. But the thing is like, if I got that for my daughter, it wouldn't matter in our household because I have a Switch. If she wanted to, she'll be playing my games, but because we're not going to buy my daughter a game every 2 months. She'd be playing the games that I buy. So I've got like Yoshi's Crafted World, Mario Maker, all that nice little stuff that she can really get into. It's like, cool, she can play that stuff. But in the context of like, if this was the first system I was buying for my kid and I was a Nintendo fan and knew it, and I didn't have the system myself, the first thing I would go for the actual thing. There's a couple reasons why. It's because your two-player out the box, again, your TV connectivity, so you can actually share it with your family. Like, the Lite is very personalized to be a one-person console. But I feel like that removes a lot of the identity of the Switch in being that it's like you're playing solo and then your friend's like, "Hey, can I join in?" It's like, yeah, you can, because I can just pull this controller off, Here you go, buddy. I'll put it in the dock. You've got two-player.
So you're playing Buddy Watson. Yep.
Yes, you're playing Buddy Watson. Everybody has a Buddy Watson in their life that comes around, wants to play Switch. So, like, I feel like that's the identity of the Switch. And that, in the first commercial of the Switch, that was the identity of it. With the whole Karen meme where...
Karen's a legend.
She takes the Switch on the rooftop and they're like, "Oh, look, guys, let's play the Switch." Like, that was its whole identity.
I'll tell you what, if Karen came over to my place and she's like, "Hey, I got a Switch and Mario Odyssey," back in 2016, I'll be like, "What the frick? You've got Mario Odyssey? What is this system?"
But you get it.
Yeah.
And in the terms of, like, if I bought my daughter a Switch Lite, it's like, yes, it's cheaper. And this is where I see the selling points. It's like, yes, it's cheaper. It's smaller, so the kids aren't going to struggle to walk around with it and all that stuff. But I would like to take into account that my daughter is 3, and at the end of the day, she uses the Wii U as her primary console. Yeah. She's not that fussed.
The gamepad, not the actual
the gamepad.
Played,
The gamepad, yeah. She doesn't use the TV. And she also has, like, my old 3DS as well to junk around with. She uses portable tech. That's just the way she prefers it. So in that context, it's like, yes, it's fine, but a lot of kids that are going to want the Switch for Christmas that do actually have the cognitive ability to be like, "I want to play Pokemon and I want to play this and I want to play it on a Switch," then they're going to be like, "I want to play the Pokemon on the TV and I want to be able to take it with me when I leave home," and stuff like that. But it does remove, like, a huge partial of the features. And the other thing is like, a parent will go into a store, they'll go buy their kid a game. Like Mario Party is something like that. It's useless on the Lite. Literally, you take that game card home, you put it in your Switch, you can't play it.
Yeah.
Not unless you've got Joy-Con, which you tack on the $120 from the Joy-Con in Australia, it makes up the cost.
Yeah, it makes it the same price, yeah.
It makes it the same price, except now you've got no dock.
Yeah, so all of those, I agree with your points there.
Yeah.
I guess when you're talking about a kid that's, say, 5 years old and, you know, they're playing... They live in a household where the parent or older brother or whoever it is already has a Switch that can be played on the TV.
Yeah.
It's not such a big deal that, you know, you're buying a Switch Lite, you know.
Yeah.
They've got their own Switch where they can play their Animal Crossing, whatever save file of their personal games, they can play it there.
Exactly.
And if they want to play Mario Kart, they just there's one on the TV already.
Yep.
But if they're a bit older and you have multiple TVs and you're like, oh, an extra dock would be actually great.
Yeah.
I think it's just like it's a hard recommendation to go to the Lite. Like, if you're someone who's like, you know, I only need it for like a plane trip and I'm only playing portable mode.
Yeah.
I think that's also fair enough. But I know there are like there's lots of times where, you know, you'll be like, oh, like if you've got Mario Kart or Smash Bros.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you play them against the CPU, do the story mode, do the cups and all that by yourself.
Yep.
That's fine, but there will be a situation where, like, you're at home, you got some friends coming over, and instead of like booting up the PS4, you're like, I've actually got these multiplayer games on my Switch, which would be great for a drinking game, or even if it's like once a year, like you've still got that option.
Yeah.
And if you're a streamer, like, you know, the option of obviously streaming on the Lite is just gone.
Yeah, you can't do it.
There's just I love the Switch just because of how versatile it is.
Yeah.
And as much as I love just like new tech from Nintendo, like I've bought every 3DS model, most DS models. Like I just love new stuff from them.
Yep.
But like just like seeing this, I'm like, it looks cool. I love the yellow one.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's smaller and sleeker.
Yeah.
Like, yay.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. But just for the price it is and what's removed from it, it's like, oh, that's a hard sell to me.
That's a real hard sell.
Because like, you know, you're paying $80 for Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart, and whether you're playing that just on your Switch Lite, handheld only, you know, and you can't put it on the TV, can't play with people who are coming over to your house, it's still the same price game. You're just getting less functionality from each game you buy.
Oh, yeah.
So you're getting less from, you know, the games you buy, unless you're just like, you know what, I'm only getting a few games, which is Pokemon, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy 7, because I feel like playing that again. And you're just going through these RPGs, and you could not care less about them on your TV, because you don't have a TV in the house anyway. Yeah. You just like watch stuff on your laptop, I don't know. Like, I guess then. Yeah. But yeah, because I said on Twitter, I said, like, personally, if you're a gamer and because I spend most of the time playing in handheld as well.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, like I think most people do.
You would think
for at an extent.
You would think, well, shit. Then doesn't that just make sense? But
because I said on Twitter, like, you know, I can't recommend this because like I know when I was a kid, I would have loved like it's just such a fun toy, the Switch.
Yeah.
And for a kid to be taking off the Joy-Cons and putting it down and waggling and 1-2 switch and putting it back on, putting it on the TV and seeing it pop on the TV, that's to a kid, I feel like that's magic. I would have loved that as a child.
Shit, yeah.
And like to people I show that are, you know, maybe 10, 12, whatever, like they're like, whoa, what's this thing? Like it's just like a cool little piece of tech that's fun to play with.
Yeah.
It's a fun tactile unit, which, you know, your PlayStation and your other systems aren't.
Yeah.
Even like an iPad. An iPad's like, oh, this is a nice screen in that, but it's not like a fun toy.
No.
And I feel like kids would get a big kick from that. But somebody commented on Twitter saying, you know, you're not a parent and you're not a kid, so you don't really have any say. I'm like, well,
and I chimed in.
Well, it's like, well,
yes, I am a parent. I do have kids.
So I don't have kids, but I was a kid, and I interact with like kids, who are into games and that, and yeah, like, and regardless of that, even if I'm wrong about the kids and the parenting and all that, like just as myself looking at it, seeing the price difference, I'm like, oh, it's not that much more. Especially if you're like, you know, you do run into a wall down the road where you're like, I'm gonna just get a Joy-Con, cool, play some games, but just
by the time you buy another set of Joy-Cons, you've made the cost of the Switch up.
Yeah.
And like in the US, it's by the time you've bought a set of Joy-Cons and bought a nice stand to sit your Switch on so you could actually play the multiplayer games because it doesn't have a stand on the back, you've made up the cost. Like that, basically you've just removed the fact that your your dock's gone, and that dock in itself is worth $120. Like, that's not a cheap thing. At least here it is. So, wait, how much is it? 130 or
130.
130. So it's probably about 85 in America for the dock. So by buying yourself an extra set of Joy-Cons on the side with the Lite, you've already made up the cost. And a stand, mind you. You've already made up the cost, but you're down a dock. And you've basically got that same functionality that you've just got in those Joy-Cons just by buying a normal Switch.
Yeah.
So the price is not that great.
So I guess what I'm just trying to get at is, like, I've got no problem with the concept. I quite like it. I'd like to own one just to own one, to be honest, because I like, small Nintendo handhelds. I like collecting Nintendo handhelds.
I would if I could sync saves. That's the other big thing.
That's another issue. But I just like Nintendo hardware, so I'd like to own one of the yellow ones. Yeah. Be fun to play with. But yeah, I think they missed the mark on the price a little bit. Like, it will go down in the future, but I just feel like the price is a sort of a... Yeah.
Well, largely enough, it segues into the next bit, and that is the revision of the OG.
Yeah, and so this sort of made, like, at least with the Lite, you're like, oh, well, if I just want portable play, which is what people might do a lot, like, use it for travelling to work and all of that type of thing. It's like, oh, well, I get a bit of better battery life out of this, so you can sort of like, oh, well, I'll get rid of the TV player. I don't really use it, and I'll get a bit of battery life. But now with the
this completely makes it redundant.
Yeah, with the revision, you're like, well, I get a way better battery life on this, so maybe I'll just...
It's like an extra 2 hours. Like this revision adds an extra 2 hours of battery. That's huge.
Yeah, up to 9 hours.
Up to 9 hours. You could play... I think the statistic was like a minimum of 5.5 hours or a maximum of 5.5 hours for Breath of the Wild.
It was max for Breath of the Wild.
And it's 3.5 hours on the Lite or 4. One of the two.
4.
Yeah. So that's 1.5 more hours on obviously the Switch's most hardware chugging game.
Most optimized game.
Yeah, the most optimized game on the Switch. So even just like indies and stuff like that lasts, I don't know, they might last your battery like 6.5 hours on the Lite. They'll probably last like 9 to 10 hours on the new OG.
No, it'll be 9. 9's the max, whatever. That's what they provided us on the site. So
okay.
About that, yeah. Which is impressive. Because, like, going back, Nintendo's handhelds have always been about battery life. Yeah. Going back to the original Game Boy, like, they sacrificed hardware power to, like, really push battery life. Like, you'll get, like, 20 to 40 hours out of your Game Boy. And it was like that throughout the Game Boy Advance, DS. It was only the 3DS, really, where they're like, yeah, the battery life isn't as good. It's about 13 hours.
Yep.
But obviously with the Switch, it came out like, there's a max of 6. It's like, all right, this thing's obviously way more... impressive
technologically wise, yeah.
But so I reckon it's really good that they're sort of refreshing it with a better battery life.
It's great, but like I said, I think the thing that irks me more is that it just makes the Lite a little bit more redundant. Because a lot of people are, their argument is, oh, it's smaller and it's going to fit in my pocket. So I'm like, well, that's why you can take the Joy-Cons off your OG, put the Switch in one pocket, and your controllers in the other. Like, arguably the OG is just as portable, judging just by the size comparison alone that they've got. It's not that much of a difference, like, at all. And by the time you take off the Joy-Cons, the actual length of the console itself is shorter on the OG than it is the Lite. The only thing that the OG is bigger in is the height of the console. So, and it's only by like a
few millimeters,
a centimeter and a half at the most. It's really not that much of a difference. So it's like, I just feel like the Lite would have been a way better idea if they conceptually. This is what I'd thought of anyway. It would have been way better if they had taken the concept of what people are doing with their old docks or whatever. And they've got plastic shelves that you can buy off like Amazon and stuff like that. You can pull the dock apart, put them in the plastic shelves, and bam, you've got a portable dock. It'd be really cool if the Switch Lite was basically a Switch, but it had a portable dock that was meant for going around with, you could take it with you, chuck it in your case, shove it in your jacket pocket. Cool. I think that would have been awesome. But obviously, with the removed Joy-Cons and stuff like that as well, kind of makes it redundant.
Like, personally, for someone who actually would like to buy this thing and actually have like a reason for it, because I don't like poo-pooing Nintendo stuff, but when it's like, when I look at it, go, why? Yeah, it's kind of like I can't
and that's the big thing here is the why, because like it looks good, it obviously has its purpose. The price is the thing that bugs us the most.
Yeah, because there are people out there who never play anything. It's like, oh, Pokemon. Oh yeah, I remember playing that on 3DS. That was fun. And they just pick up this and literally Pokemon.
Yeah,
and that's fun.
Yeah, something like that.
You see, it's like, oh well, I save $130. That's like, obviously they're never going to buy the Joy-Cons and play this other stuff, and they don't care. But I feel like most people, it's like you've got to.
I feel like the other thing as well too, though, is that now these new OG models are coming. They're going to replace the current old model. So soon enough, you're going to start seeing sales of the OG model where they come down to the Lite's price just to get rid of them.
Well, we'll see. Maybe they'll just not worry about it because a lot of people won't know.
Well, the cheapest price in Australia for the OG model, as I told you the other day, was through Gamesman, and that was like not far after launch. It was $330. It's the same price as what the Lite is launching at.
That is sales though. Like
I understand that is sales, but that is a very significant price drop. And
we are seeing retailers like Amazon AU and Harvey Norman reducing it to just under $300 the Lite as well.
Yeah, so, which is good. Yeah,
so I reckon that's a better price for it. To be honest,
it needs to be $300 base. I think.
Yeah,
like the $30 doesn't really seem like in the mind of like some people. It's just like the $30 extra is like, oh well, but it makes a hell of a lot of difference when you consider the factors of it. I feel like the $30 difference going down and then it going on sale for $270. Like $270 is the optimal price for me to pick it up and be like, okay, now I'm happy with this purchase. It removes two-thirds of the playability by removing desktop play and TV play. I'm paying half the price for it.
Yeah, like personally, I would have liked to see either of these options. So the Lite coming out as it is without all of the functionality for TV, but being the size of like a PlayStation Vita or the 3DS XL when it's folded. So it's really small, $280 entry point, real cheap, real small, appeals to people who just like on the go, put it in your pocket, easy. It's not as big and clunky as the Switch. Or what it is currently, the same size factor, but still with the dock play. Don't get a dock with it, but you do have the option if you're like, tell you what, I do want to dock this thing. And there's like a nice little dongle to buy, which isn't the huge dock for the OG Switch, but it's like you're saying, it's like real easy, it's light, it's for people on the go who still want to play on the TV, still want to switch their gameplay to their television. But unfortunately, it's just, for me, it's between those two things. So you're not getting the portability of something like a Vita or a 3DS, but you're not getting the switching gameplay with what you do on the normal Switch.
Yeah, and that's the hardest. That's the hardest thing. It feels like it's trying to meet the same sort of standards as what the 3DS does in terms of portability, but it doesn't meet the mark because it is bigger than it.
Yeah,
that make enough sense.
And I'm going to reserve the rest of my sort of opinions for when we actually, get to play this thing, get hands on, get to feel it, get to look around it.
Yeah,
all that. Like, we get the dimensions, and we see that the dimensions aren't much smaller, but we might actually get a hands on it and be like, hey, this is a lot easier to move around. And
at the end of the day, it's like another 2 or 3 months until it comes out, or something like that.
Yeah, September 20th.
September 20th, right. Maybe things will change between now and then. A lot of people are sort of like, don't know why you just fucked with the USB-C port. You could have just left it as it is and made it dockable. Would have been fine.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this thing might just not have fit in the dock. They didn't want to make a new dock as well. Yeah. So they just go, well, don't make it dockable.
What this thing coming out, what this tells me is that the dockless Switch sold really well in Japan because they did have that period where they sold them dockless.
Yeah, and this also might be a big push just for like, they're not even thinking about really the rest of the world. They're just like, Japan.
Yeah.
As well. Like, obviously the creators of the Switch and all that are based in Japan.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is as well is like the dockless Switch might have sold well in Japan, so they've came up with this console. I think that still harkens back to the point of giving you the option of buying a dock later down the road, so you can play the Switch as it's intended. Like, it's a really hard press issue where cost and form factor does not equal exactly what it should, and especially in Australia where the price feels a lot heftier than it does in the US. that sucks. You know,
Yeah, I don't know how Americans feel about it. Like that, like $100 for them, so $200 for the Lite, $300 for the standard model. I don't know if that's like the same way we feel, where what is it, $140 difference about that between the two models. I don't know if that's about the same, probably.
Look, the conversations I've had with people anyway is a lot of people are like, oh, the idea of this console's genius. It's going to sell like hotcakes, and I'm just like, I feel like it's going to sell like hotcakes for the wrong reason.
Oh, it's going to sell well. There's no doubt that this thing is not going to. It's not going to launch, and it's going to be like, oh no one bought it. No way in hell that's going to be the case.
No, people will buy it.
It's going to sell really well.
I just feel like it severely missed the mark, and then like you get those parents that go in on Christmas. They're like, I want to get a Switch, and then they go, here's the Switch Lite. Yeah. You take it home to the kid, and then the kid's like, where's the dock? Yeah. Why is there no dock?
I know I'm not the audience they're going for. They're obviously not going for the audience who already own the Switch.
No.
I think they're going to attack us next year with a Pro model.
I really hope so.
I think that is pretty obvious with this, like how they're not marketing it towards us. But I think it would have been a real easy sell to me, a Switch Lite. It would have been such an easy sell to me, just being like, it's still compatible.
It's smaller. Yeah.
It's still compatible, and it's smaller, and it's yellow, and it looks bright.
Yeah,
I think, and it has a D-pad.
Sold $400.
Yeah, and I would have just, all right, cool, pre-order. They got a Pokemon one out. Like, are you kidding me? You could have had me real easy, but I think just that's why I want to bring it up, because
they could have had a lot of people real easy.
Yeah,
just by making it a little bit smaller, probably a little bit smaller than what it actually is. But you would have had a lot of people just been like, done, cool, smaller, I want it, cool, yeah. You know, but it's not that, and unfortunately, with everything that it removes and the cost price, it doesn't math out very well.
Yeah. So
and with the OG, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. You guys listening, I'm curious what you guys think. If you're interested in getting one, if you feel similar to us, or you think we're missing in the mark, or whatever.
And keep in context the OG revision as well, like with the more battery life and stuff like that.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, I've got no issue with this. I hope people buy it and they really enjoy it. But you know, I just feel with the price difference, it's not worth getting rid of those features. Because when the Switch came out, like it blew up because it was different, it was versatile, it fit into people's lives really well.
Yep.
I know, like the way it fit into my life and how much time I was able to put into Breath of the Wild, whereas if I was just playing on Wii U or my PlayStation or whatever it is, like it just made me open my eyes and go, wow, this is awesome. I'm playing on my TV, I'm going to bed playing it there, I bring it to work and I fit an hour in like while I'm eating lunch at work. I was like, this thing is awesome. And obviously they kept on supporting it with great software and that.
We go to the pub, we whip it out on the bar and play some multiplayer.
Yeah, it's like every single feature of the Switch was like just either docking it or putting it in handheld mode, taking the Joy-Cons off. I've utilised it all. I love it. Yeah. And I just feel like getting rid of that to save a bit of money, whereas you could even narrow that down if you're getting it on sale.
Yeah.
And now getting rid of like the extra 2 hours battery life and all of that, what's on the normal Switch, I just feel like it's not worth it. But
no, not with the revision. Not with the revision. That's the big killer for me. At the end of the day, like I might buy my daughter one for Christmas if that comes around. But at the end of the day, she'll be playing my games. It won't be her buying new games or anything like that. She'll be playing what I've got in my arsenal, and she can play those, and we've just got another console around the house for her to play. It's like, click, cool.
Yeah.
And then if we want to play multiplayer, we can play on the TV.
The Switch Lite fits great for that. But I feel like there's only a few situations where I'm like, yes, get the Lite.
Yeah.
If it's for a kid that might break a Joy-Con off or something silly like that, get the Lite. If you're looking for like your portable gaming system, you know, you're older, you do play games on your TV and all that. Yeah. Anyway, we talked about that long enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably end up with one anyway. After all that.
Yeah, that's
I'm a sucker. I'm a goddamn sucker.
The thing is, as well, is like coming into Christmas and all that. It's like that's the tester for me. Is it going to be that I buy a new Switch model and get the extra battery life and all that, and have the extra dock where I can take that extra dock places and just go click into TVs and go, here we go. I can, send a little bag around to my mum's with like a Switch in it, so her and Poppy can play Mario Kart together because he's a big Mario Kart advocate. Like her standing grandfather, massive advocate for Mario Kart. He loves it.
If you're on the market for a second Switch, that's a great time to be like, all right, refresh my Joy-Cons and my dock for like an extra $100 and something bucks.
Yeah.
Let alone Christmas sales. You won't be buying the Switch for $470 around Christmas time. You'll find a sale somewhere. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. Like coming down to it, that dock would have an extra use in my life somewhere, and the extra Joy-Cons wouldn't go a harm too.
Yeah, it's just the thing you got to think about is like, would you trust your young daughter with Joy-Cons that can come off, where they can break and get lost and all that type of thing?
She's had no trouble with them so far, as long as you keep an eye on her.
Yeah. Would you feel safer with just the Switch Lite, which is its own thing?
It's arguably just as breakable, so I don't, know. It's like, you snap your Joy-Cons off your console. It's like you drop your Switch Lite. It's like, oh no, I snapped the entire controller that I can't use anymore off my console.
Yeah, I don't think she'll do that. I don't think she's strong enough to just snap in half like, whoops.
No, and dropped it. I mean, like,
oh, yeah.
That's the thing, is like, if you drop a console, it's going to take damages either way. And they're more permanent on a Switch Lite, where you can't just replace the controllers.
Yeah, just you break a Joy-Con. Oh, what? Throw it out the window. Put another one.
Well, you wouldn't just throw it out the window, but like, you can buy a replacement and just be like, cool, they're fixed. And that's like something that's really good about it. And then with the Switch Lite, you're going to have to send the whole fucking thing back for repairs, and you're going to be without it in general.
Yeah.
And with all the problems that have been coming out, just as we talked about earlier with people and their drifting Joy-Cons, you're going to have to send your whole console away, guys. Like, that's the Switch Lite. You'd want to hope that they do some pretty goddamn good revising on the Switch Lite's controls. Otherwise, you're going to be sending them back for drifting. If that turns out to be the case, you're going to be sending them back for drifting, but you're not going to be able to play any of your games, because there goes the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a hard sell right now with all this shit going on.
Yes. Oh well, it's definitely a valid proposition. You have to sort of weigh up in your head. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of factors.
Yeah, like, I think even if you're a little tiny bit interested in any of it, just go for the normal Switch.
Yeah, don't sort of like blindly follow the consumerism of it. I feel like there's a lot of people that are just like, it's Nintendo, they're geniuses, they know what they're doing. It's like, did they though? Do they? I mean, the Wii U. That's already enough of a thing. GameCube suffered in its lifetime, despite the fact it was a good console. Like, Nintendo has been through history, and they have made plenty of mistakes, and this could be one of them.
Let's be honest, in the console realm, it's been a long time since we've had a piece of hardware like the Switch where we've been very happy with.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Absolutely, yeah,
a long time.
And like, when you think of past console revisions, like the GBA SP, for example, or the Game Boy Color, they only moved up from where they were. They didn't remove anything. Yeah. And if they did remove anything, they added in something.
The SP was missing the headphone jack.
Okay, it was missing the headphone jack.
They did it before Apple, so...
Cool, okay. So the SP was missing the headphone jack, and then like the DSi removed the Game Boy Advance cartridge, but it also added a shop. You know,
and heaps of apps and a camera.
Exactly,
it was awesome. Yeah,
and the GBA SP didn't have a headphone jack, but it did have a backlight and a collapsible shell to protect the screen.
That is one of my favorite little systems. I love that.
Exactly.
Thing. Yeah,
but the Switch Lite just removes the Joy-Cons, gives you maybe a tiny bit extra battery life, has a smaller form factor, and that's the sell. It's nothing revolutionary like a backlit screen, or a completely new operating system with extra shit, or cameras on the console. It doesn't add any of that. It just removes a bunch of things to make it cheaper. So I just feel like, as a revision from Nintendo, who are known for really solid handheld revisions, it's not very good.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I agree.
Cool.
If anybody says no, I'm still getting one, that's awesome. Let us know what you think of it.
Yeah, by all means. Like, if you find interest in it, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you get one and you love it and you're like, oh, I don't care about TV play, that's great.
Yeah.
We're not saying you can't feel that way.
Yeah.
We're just sharing our opinions.
No, that's it. I just think, again, like you said, if you're the tiniest bit interested in anything on the Switch that you wouldn't get on the Lite, you're probably just better off buying the normal Switch. Multiplayer, TV play, whatever it may be.
Absolutely. Now, I feel like we've droned on about this long enough.
We have.
So let's end the show, Bros.
Yeah,
let's end it.
Sorry, yeah. It's a big week in tech talk, really. You know.
Yeah, no, it was. We didn't talk about any games really.
No, it's because like this entire week has just been like new tech news on Nintendo about their actual proprietary hardware and not their games. That's because Fire Emblem's out the end of this week, and that's like their big hitter for this time of year.
Yeah, which we're really excited about. Cannot wait for Fire Emblem.
Absolutely.
It's going to be probably like I've obviously played Fire Emblem games before. This is the one I'm actually really excited as far as like the lead up to it goes. Like Awakening, it came out. I'm like, oh, sweet, looks good, and I played it. But with this one, I'm like, yes. From when it got announced to the directs and everything, I'm following it.
Yep.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
and hopefully I get through it because it's going to be a long one.
It's going to be a long one. Yeah. Just judging by the news alone, but
yeah. So next week's going to be games talk. Hopefully,
it will be games
by
talk.
By the time we record next week, we would have only played it for a couple of days since it comes out the Friday, and we'll be probably record Saturday or Sunday. Something like that.
Saturday I'll be at work all day. It'll be either Sunday or
I meant
Monday.
to say Sunday. Yeah, I know.
Sunday or Monday we'll record, and then hopefully I'm going up to pick up my copy, and I'm going to be playing it all day. I'm going to be playing it. I'm going to try and get at least 20 hours in, and go, cool, I've played it for 20 hours. I can talk about it.
Jesus.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm super serious about my video games, mate.
Serious.
Yes, I need to get my word in, and you know I'll probably finish it before you do. And in that case, I'll more than likely have a review written up for dashgamer.com, and that'll be in the show notes when that goes up formally.
Yes, it will be. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario episode 108. If you like the show, please subscribe on your podcast service of choice and leave a cheeky 5-star rating. Bryce, where can they find you on the Twitterverse?
At IVRevan.
You can find me at iDribby, and you can find the show at the House of Mario. And of course, we are part of the 8-Bit Collective. 12 podcasts and 20 podcast creators coming together to put awesome audio content in your ears. And if you'd like to support the show further, get exclusive access to our podcast, Cracking Furfies, and other goodies over there. Go and visit www.patreon.com/iDribby.
Yeah.
Help support the show, all that fun stuff. And yes, I think that's it. Oh, and visit our Discord community. Say hello.
Yeah.
Say what's up.
I mean, we've got a lot of people that are talkative in there. If you're ever interested about talking about Nintendo, that's the place to go.
That's the place to go.
That's the place to go.
So, Bryce, Nintendo Jukebox this week is by Video Game Remixes, and it's a Wii Sports Resort remix.
Hell yeah.
I love Wii Sports Resort. Are we going to see a Switch port anytime soon?
Probably not.
Switch Lite port.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, yeah. Pull your horn a little bit there, Mark. Yeah.
So if a Wii Sports Resort port ever comes to Switch, maybe that's a reason not to get the Lite. Just saying. Anyway, guys, catch you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.